Hello, I'm Tim O'Connor,
Oh, I'm Joanne.
and you're watching Portal TV. Welcome to our very first show. We're going to have a lot of fun today. This is our SyTECH edition, and we're going to get into some great science content today before we actually get into our gaming. So first off, we want to talk about inflation of the universe. And you're watching Portal TV.
Yes.
Welcome to
Oh
our
my
very
gosh,
first
that
show.
is like the find of the
We're going to have a lot of
decade
fun
or
today. This is
something.
our SyTECH
Once I saw
edition.
that, because I run across a lot of news, whether it's on Facebook or I do my own research on like the news websites and all that. But as soon as I saw that, I'm like, what? Because I'm like actually really into science. So,
It's huge, huge revelation. And I have a quick little video here for you folks from Scientific American that really explains it in a nutshell. So I'd like to play that for you if I may. Let me bring that up here and we'll roll with it. That beautiful bean footage now.
how much of it are you playing, Jim?
It's only 4 minutes.
Okay. By the way, where is the chat right now? I can't see the chat on my Twitch. Is it disabled?
No, it's not.
That's weird. I can't see it today.
If you've been following the news, you may have heard about BISEP-2. This stands for Background Imaging of Cosmic Extragalactic Polarization 2, a telescope located in Antarctica. BISEP-2 uses 512 radio wave detectors to observe the cosmic microwave background, or CMB, which is the light left over from the Big
So how
Bang.
much of this are you playing?
BISEP-2 and its sister
4 minutes.
Oh, of whatever she's saying. Okay.
Yes. And everyone can hear everything we're saying.
I know. But we should try to interact a little bit, do you think, in between, or just straight on?
Let's just go ahead and interact.
Okay. Just one quick thing is, would you happen to know where my chat box went, so I can mediate it?
Sure, let me bring that up.
Thank you.
Let me see, because it should just be over there on the right. You just may have it closed. Do you have your window open full screen?
Found it. Found it.
That was it.
Thank you. I'm like, where'd it go?
You're welcome. Let's see. Let's back up here real quick. Get back into my setup. Okay. Let's continue.
Alrighty.
Wasn't just looking at the CMB, it was measuring the orientation of the CMB's photons.
So what's happening here is the telescope down there in at the South Pole is actually looking for that first moment of the universe back when it was 1/1000th of a trillionth of a trillionth of a trillionth of a second old. And what they were trying to find, according to Einsteinian theory, is gravity waves, in the fact that the high energy state of the electrons were actually shooting photons at each other at that point. And according to theory, that would only have occurred if there was a huge expansion, according to mathematical theory, at that time. And that's what they think they found. Now, recently, Joanne, you found something about the Planck Observatory that seems to be refuting that. Is that correct?
Yes, they're trying to, I didn't read too much into it because I'm like, no, inflation is real. I'm just kidding. No,
Denial.
Obviously in science, as time wears on, especially in like a year's time, we'll know a lot more about whether the inflation theory has been proved. Although, from what I've read, they said that about 1 in 10 million of a chance that it's false.
Yes.
Because I think apparently after they found it, they did 3 years of like intensive, processing to make sure that like they could prove it false, but apparently that, it's I don't know, there's a very slim chance that it's false.
Right, and because with any type of radio astronomy, we're gathering so much information out there. It's not real time when we make a discovery. We actually find it as we go back and start reviewing what it was we've picked up. And that can be years later at times, as was this discovery. Let me play a little bit more of that for you folks.
Alrighty.
It was looking for a particular kind of pearl in the light called B-mode polarization. By mapping the polarization of the cosmic microwave background over an area of the sky, researchers found a signature.
I wish there wasn't this 20-second lag.
So, what are gravitational waves? According to Einstein, our universe is made up of fabric called space-time.
Oh, that's right, B-mode polarization.
That's
I
right.
remember reading about that, yeah.
That funnels smaller bodies with bigger ones. This is how gravity works.
And you know, this hypothesis, it dates all the way back to like Einstein, you know, his theory.
Exactly. That's almost
Um,
100. Well, some of it goes back 100 years.
yeah, exactly. So it's like because you know you could find it's kind of like how do you find a significance in a huge population? You take a sample. So basically, we have plenty of samples of how like the immediate our Earth works, how you know the surrounding galaxies work. So you know we can apply that to a much larger scale, like you know the universe.
That's correct.
Larger object doesn't stay put. It can travel through the fabric of space-time like a wave
Anyways,
traveling on a string.
someone on Twitter,
These objects
Timmy on
also
Twitter,
have
he was like,
gravitational waves, and they
"You need to
slip
tell me
through
this stuff
space-time
ahead
like
of time." I'm like,
speed.
"I'm so sorry, I forgot that I was supposed to tweet about the stream last night. I totally forgot. Also, because I was
Objects
recovering from my
accelerate.
allergy,
Like when two
sickness,
black
and
holes spiral
yeah."
towards each other. But the gravitational waves detected by BICEP 2 come from the time immediately after the Big Bang,
Oh, look at
and
that.
they prove
Oh,
that
I
event
love science.
inflation
Don't you love
really
science?
occurred.
I do.
With the Big Bang, the universe began expanding. A
Yeah, I've been a
slow,
geek since I was a kid.
uniform change would have created a universe
You
with
know,
only the history.
I think I've always been a geek, but but the thing is, like, you know, when you're younger, everyone's like, "Oh, you're smart," you know, like you're not cool. At least when I was in like, you know, middle school, high school,
Right,
and
right.
so
There
so
was
obviously,
there was always that
go on.
division. People, you're either the cool kid or you're the geek or you're the vocational kid or there's always that separation, that line.
And then like, you know, obviously when I was in middle school, high school, I did care a lot about what people thought, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should be like all pretty and stuff, and like go to parties. But it's funny because, you know, the older I got, the more I decided to come back to my roots of like, you know, nerdiness because I did used to read a lot of books. I just for years I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna be, you know, social, you know, but hey, I don't need friends, right? I'm just kidding. But what I found out was like a good balance. Balance is key to like just being happy. Like I read, educate myself these days, and you know I have fun. You know, but mostly I'm just working these days. What do you think, Tim?
I think that's very true. I think people find the confidence in themselves to be themselves, but as we're growing up and we're going through the school system, boy, there's a lot of peer pressure. And people want you to be something else than what you originally are. You just need to take what you have of yourself, read what you love, get into it, do what you want. I know I don't always live through. It's hard to put yourself in another person's shoes because sometimes that peer pressure can be really ugly. But there's nothing better in the world than finding yourself as soon as you can and enjoying all those things in life that you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, basically be comfortable with yourself. And as long as you know you're not hurting anybody or property or something like that, go ahead and do what you love. Be weird, you
Yeah.
know, like just let your inner geek or you know party monster out, you know, gaming monster.
Yeah, do no harm. Other than that, have fun. Do no harm.
Yeah, just be who you are. But have you finished the clip on the gravitational waves? Because
I
I
have
want to
not
talk
yet.
a little bit more about that. Oh, okay, so it's still going on.
Yeah, so let me continue that and we'll get that done out of the way and we'll dive in everything else.
Okay, are you gonna put a picture up while we talk about it?
Yes.
Awesome. You got this, Tim. I trust you. You got this.
Yeah, the 30-second delay is troublesome.
It is because like I'm seeing just like some orange blank screen, but actually there's like a lot of stuff going on.
Now I'm seeing a good picture of the inflation of the universe, which you'll see in just a moment.
Yeah, I see like quantum fluctuations, inflation. Oh, it's like it's showing the oldest light in the universe right now, which I believe is the microwave background. The
Right there.
yeah. Where you see like dark parts of the universe and bright parts of it, meaning it's like colder and hotter.
That's right.
But let me find the exact name. The cosmic microwave background. That would be
That's it.
the oldest light in the universe that we know of, anyway. So just something to know if you're curious, you can look that up. And basically, there was a flashlight that was released into space about 380,000 years after the Big Bang, when the universe cooled down, and then that's when there was enough space or freedom for that light to travel directly to us, and I suppose that's how we found out, right?
That's right. And this part right here, what we're just getting into now about the multiverses. Yes, which is at the very end of this video. So here it is.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
So the nice thing about the multiverse is that they say during the expansion period there is so much stress in the space-time continuum, so to speak, that there were quite possibly, according to theory, an infinite number of multi-pocket universes were created. That means at this moment, right now, in another universe, Joanne and I are doing this show, or maybe it's Joanne and somebody else, or maybe it's me and somebody else, or Joanne's wearing a red shirt, or we never survived the Cold War, and so there's no show. It's just on and on. Any variation you can think of has occurred.
Basically, you know, when it expanded, it shot out in all different directions, but at the same time. So therefore, you know, I mean, that's how possibly we could have, I wouldn't say parallel, but just worlds where I don't even know if it's, do you think it would be the same people? Technically, would it be?
Well, it's an infinite number, Joanne. It's an infinite
that's true.
number of universes. And so somewhere we are sitting exactly like this, except maybe you use your right hand instead of your left hand to brush your hair. You know, and maybe you don't have on those cool new headphones you have. It's not red, it's blue. Or like I say, we may never have survived the Cold War. We may have blown ourselves to smithereens. So in that universe, the humanity is done.
I mean, it's kind of crazy how that
It is,
works.
it is.
Because, I mean, one day when we somehow learn how to jump through space and time, we'll probably visit one of these worlds and try to shake it up a bit and be like, by the way, I'm you, except in this world. And
Or you
know,
mean jumping
you know,
universes? That would be interesting. That would be
Yeah,
interesting.
well, yeah, I mean, just be able to just, you know, be able to travel faster than the speed of light. I mean,
Right.
that would be just out of this world. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to travel faster than the speed of light. I mean, but would that involve all of my, you know, my atomic structure to basically break apart and then, you know, come back together once
That's
I've
right.
arrived
That's
at
right.
the destination? That it would be kind of like teleportation in a way, right? That would be. I mean, that's a little scary. What if, like, we don't do it right, like, the calculations are somehow amiss, and then, like, our arm is, like, on our head, and they're just like, oh, God, redo, go back,
Or
go
worse,
back.
or worse, or worse, they're teleporting you, and all of a sudden they get the blue screen.
Oh, that's hilarious. In the PC world, we call it the blue screen of death.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
it's like, oh, my God, what do I do now?
And you're transporting the president of the Galactic Center, and you go, no, because you got the blue screen. Yep, bad news. See, we get way out there. We're geek nerds. What can I say? And we're proud of it.
We are quite proud of it. But
Yeah, we are.
did you want to get into a little bit about, like, how this theory came about and all that?
Sure, go ahead. Shoot.
I noted that in your other episode, you were saying something about in the 1970s. Actually, it was in the 1980s.
It was. That was a misquote.
So MIT physicist Alan Guth suggested that many of the oddities of, like, in the universe could be explained if it went through a period of hyper expansion, just super fast expansion, faster than the speed of light, known as inflation. And basically, during this time, the universe's volume grew by at least 10 to the 75th power in the first trillionth of a trillionth of a trillionth of a second after the Big Bang. Just think about that. That's like, it's like I can't even think that fast.
Yeah, it breaks every rule that we have in our theories. I mean, it's so much faster than the speed. But was it really faster than the speed of light, or is it just some other rule we don't understand yet? And that's what all this information is going to help with physicists and our astronomers for the next decade that we've just found thanks to the Bicep 2 and the Planck. Is it Planck or Planck? I think it's Planck. Planck is how they pronounce it.
Planck. That's the Planck mission.
Right, and that's done by the EU.
Yeah, and basically they're saying that due to some type of, obviously the way we can find how all of this works is through light polarization, specifically B mode polarization, and that's how we're able to track how all of this is happening.
That's right.
And basically the Planck mission is saying that, like, you know, because of XYZ, like, inflation theory is not possible, but I don't know. Like, we're gonna find out more, and I'm gonna keep reading up on this.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated.
yeah, keep you updated. But for now, of course, there's going to be some naysayers. For example, creationists versus evolutionists and stuff like that. There's always going to be some kind of debate going on, and either side could be right
Absolutely, or it could be a little bit of both.
yeah, exactly, on the different issues. But like we want that. It's like we want the competition. We want there to be dissent, you could say, but
Well,
because so so we can find out the truth
that's
somewhere
right.
in between.
That's
That's
right.
how it always is
Exactly. To
between
the
them.
best
Yeah,
of our knowledge and the best of our comprehension. Exactly. Now that's
exactly.
that's a picture of the Planck spacecraft, right, hovering over Joanne there, and that's a much more expensive system than what the American scientists have
Um,
put together so far. But it was done by NASA know-how, so. We're all sharing all the information around, and that's what's nice about the scientific community. I mean, even if it comes to behind the Iron Curtain in the day, back during the Cold Wars, we were still sharing some information. But now in this day with the internet and everything else, so we get to validate our information and cross-check it and try to get down to the root of it all. There's some very, very smart people out there that I don't even hold a candle to that are just doing phenomenal work, and it's going to change everything. It's going to change everything for good or bad, and that's what's up to us.
and I want to be a part of that. Like
Exactly.
I mean, before my life ends, I would love to know like concrete evidence that there's life on other planets, whether it be microbial, like amoebas or something. But what I mean is like I just it would be so cool to know that in the next how many hundreds, thousands of years that planet, that life could form into something a lot more substantial, like multi-celled organisms. I mean
Exactly.
that's interesting to me personally. I mean, I'm actually kind of a science geek. It's like I said, I mentioned this earlier, but I can't help it. This kind of stuff like excites me. I'm like,
Yeah, it's like.
I must like I must read every single article there is on this.
Have you ever read Scientific American?
No, I haven't. But
Oh
remember I
boy,
told you for a period in high school, middle school, I did the whole party scene. Okay.
I don't
And
remember that.
I kind of like dumbed down my brain because I'm like I want to fit in. But as I
Sure.
grew older, I'm like, you know what? I don't really care. I just want to be myself. I want to learn because my brain gets really bored easily. So I have to keep it stimulated. I mean, that could be ADD too.
Sure, but which is
But
fine. That's fine. Be-
exactly, exactly. But also, I wanted to mention that we didn't actually, I don't know, maybe your video played it, but we are using the Bicep 2.
right.
I forgot what it stands for. I did have it earlier.
It
I
was in the
lost
video.
it.
I forget too.
Okay, good. But, it's basically on the South Pole.
It's
Why do we put it on the
bipolar
South
something.
Pole?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we put it on the South Pole because it's really dry there. So it's a lot easier to, like, be able to map that area of
That's
sky.
right.
And basically just a little bit of tech. If you're curious, it houses 512 detectors, each cooled to nearly 1/4 of a degree Celsius above absolute zero. That is cold. Okay, that is very cold.
Yeah.
I mean, like the only thing that could survive there would be water bears, right? or tardigrades.
That's
Sorry,
that's a very good question. I don't know whether they can survive that type of freezing, but they're pretty hardy critters. We'll talk about them in a moment here. But
yeah,
one of the
but
very
yeah.
interesting things when you were going off in your tangent about transportation and faster than light travel, the very interesting thing that even my father, when he was a little boy, they talked about in his physics class was what's called the light of other days. You realize what we're doing with this radio astronomy is we're looking at the past. It is light from other days. The scenario that the physics teachers almost always talk to their students about, or at least they used to, and what I read in a great book, which I'll show you in just a moment, is that if we could somehow collect all those photons of light that have passed by us through time, we could look back at any point of history, at any point in the universe or this planet that we chose. In other words, we could go back and answer all the questions about religion. We could go back and answer all the questions about exactly what occurred, not as history wrote it, but as things truly happened, if you understand what I'm saying. So that's kind of scary at the same time, because that means you would have no privacy anywhere at any time, and who knows if not future generations of humanity are looking back at us right now and doing exactly the same type of thing.
Oh,
But
there was a movie actually that reminds me of that, where like each person could access parallel universes just by simply getting into a machine, and their consciousness would be transported to that other world.
Oh, which
is
one was that?
basically- God, oh, I don't remember exactly, but it was an older movie. Had a blonde in it. I know that's completely just almost irrelevant, but her husband, was like he was a police officer, or the guy in the other world.
Time Cop. Was it Time Cop?
Oh, I don't know.
With Von
It
Damme?
might-
Because he didn't go to
I
other
don't know.
universes. He just went back in time. He jumped around time.
No, it wasn't time.
Okay.
They were put into these like machines. They're hooked up, and then their consciousness could travel to a parallel universe. And I'm not talking about like Total Recall. This
Sure.
is an older movie, like in the 80s and the 90s. It was really good. And basically, you could transport yourself to that other universe, and if you did it just right, you could cut yourself off in the past universe and stay there, whichever if you would prefer to do that.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't remember the name. Damn it.
I
Yeah.
I can imagine what I could accomplish if everything I know now is put back into my 6-year-old body. Back in time.
That's what it is.
Think about that.
I know, but then what would be the fun? You wouldn't
Oh.
be able to like experience the failures. You wouldn't.
Oh,
like,
no, but I have all
no.
that. I have the memory of all that. That's what I'm saying.
Uh,
All the memory of everything I've lived goes back into that younger version of me.
But in a way, you would get sick of every other 6-year-old around you. You'd be like, F this, stop.
Yeah, they'd put me away in a straitjacket just because of the language I've learned in this time, right?
Yeah, or they think you're a genius. But the thing is, like, think about it. You can only be a genius for so long. And then you're like, actually, I can't do this quantum physics stuff. Sorry, I just got put in a 6-year-old body.
Well, I'd start little companies like Apple and Microsoft and, things like that.
Oh, you want to go back in time.
There you go. There you go.
That's different. I thought you meant everything you know now, but back rewind your own physical body to that age, not the entire time thing. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, and just one more thing before we move on to the next topic. It's just if for those of you who are still kind of unsure of what inflation is basically it's a time where the expansion of space in the early universe is expanded at a pace much faster than the speed of light, like I mentioned. And following that inflationary period, the universe continued to expand, but at a slower rate. And
Exactly.
That's,
And very
during that
uniform.
time- yeah, during that during the waves, that's when our universe was created. All the galaxies that we know, all the stars, all of that good stuff. And basically, like on March 17th, 2014, astrophysicists of the BICEP 2 collaboration announced that the detection of the inflationary gravitational waves in the B mode power spectrum apparently provided strong enough evidence to back up Guth's theory of inflation and, of course, for the Big Bang. So one of the theories of how our universe was created.
Right, and what they're going toward is trying to come up with a theory of everything, which binds together both quantum science and the large-scale science of the Einsteinian universe. And if they can do that, then the understanding we'll have on everything around us will be much greater than that of which we have now. Now, this is part of the reason why the Large Hadron Collider was built over in Europe. Hadron Collider was built over in Europe to try and understand those things too, with the Boson particle, which they have finally also determined does exist. So anyway, let's move on to our next segment here. And we have go ahead.
And also one thing, if you feel like joining in on the chat,
Please.
go ahead and send us a question. Just be like, oh, I think this is really cool, and then we'll give you a shout out. Be like, yeah, hey, we agree or whatnot. But let's move on to something more PC tech related, because earlier, so we had our science segment, so we're going to be doing this every week. We're going to have science, like PC tech news, and random stuff, maybe a cooking segment too.
Whatever it takes. So this next
Yeah.
little critter is a superhuman, Superman, so to speak, and this is what a water bear is. Now the reason we're bringing him up is because we're going to segue to another segment here in just a second. But a water bear is a small gentleman who has a brain stem, and a spinal column. And look, isn't he cute? And this guy is, this guy is 10 times stronger than your average cockroach. If all the cockroaches were killed, these guys would still be around.
Oh yeah, I mean, cockroaches are gross, but at least we can see them so we can smash them to bits. But these guys are they're so tiny. And like there could be a million around me and then I wouldn't even know. They could be eating me alive. I'm just kidding.
But the great thing about them is they allow us to do a lot of experimentation that will allow us to understand things as cryogenic sleep, which can also help in first responders. For instance, these guys can be frozen solid, and what happens and not all varieties, because there's hundreds of varieties of these water bears, but they can be frozen solid, and some of them create a type of sugar basis that goes into their blood that keeps them from fracturing all the cells. Also, these guys can be in a total vacuum for up to 10 days and then still brought back. They can be desiccated with no water in them to a tenth of their size, a little bit of water, and they're back. They're supermen, truly.
You know, I don't know what the article was saying. They must be high. I just don't know. Like, to me, that looks disgusting. Like, because, like, things like larvae, caterpillars, it looks like a caterpillar to me. Like, freaks me out. I see one, I'm like, kill it! I'm just kidding. But basically, it freaks me out. Like, it's just so weird looking. It's all baggy. I mean, Shar-Peis are cute. The
Well-
prickly dogs. But this, that.
Well, the bagginess made me wonder why they operated so well in a vacuum. Because if you look at our astronauts' spacesuits, they're also very baggy, and I wonder if their skin operates in the same manner to hold in those things that are most important for them in that vacuum. Interesting.
No, it is. And like you said about that, it's called lucrose. Do you remember exactly what sugar that was? Hold
No,
on.
I don't. Look it up, Joanne.
Real quick, let me look it up just in case you're curious. Hold on. Sugar. It's called trellohose or something. So it's like there's one that which animals can survive drying, making a sugar called trellohose, and then it's I'm sorry, trehalose. I'm dyslexic. I'm just kidding. Anyway, trehalose.
She's been
sort of
drinking a
replaces-
lot of coffee.
Yeah, it replaces water as they drown, so it makes kind of this glassy surface where normally the water would be sitting. So, in case you were curious about what that's all about.
And that works good there. So let's move on to how this segues into Europa.
And by the way, hello, Hubbabricks. Wait, Hubbaricks.
Oh, is he back? Hey, Hub. How you doing?
Yeah, I was like, wait, how do you pronounce it? I'm just kidding. But hi, I'll try to say hi to everybody, just so like, I'm not forgetting about you. I am looking at the chat, so.
Now, the moon you see behind us here is Europa, and it is the 6th closest moon to Jupiter. And because of that, there's great tidal forces that are constantly evolving within the center. They think it's an iron core, very similar to Earth. And it's only a fraction smaller than our moon. So it's really huge. And even though it is the smallest of the Galileo moons in its orbit. Having said all that, what's really interesting about it is that it has an ice surface to it. As you can see by all the cracks in it, there's a lot of tectonic activity going on at the same time, and there's heat emanating from this body too. So what they're hoping for is that there is a water ocean underneath all this. Now, I've heard over the last 15 years talk about sending a probe to Europa, but until just recently, 2013, that was really being pushed back, especially because of the economy, the way it's been, etc., and all that good stuff. Recently, though, one of our, bear with me a second here as I bring it up, one of our senators, a Republican from...
Did you just say senator? Sounds like centaur. One of our centaurs.
One of our senators. I've always been very odd in my pronunciation of things.
No, it's like, I've always enjoyed that bushy tail of his, especially the texture. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I'm just kidding.
Yes,
I like
you
to be
are.
goofy and have fun.
Yes, you are a goof, yes. Oh, his name is John Culberson, and he's out of Houston, Texas. And what's really interesting is NASA wasn't asking for money for this at all. And yet, out of the blue, in 2012, Congress, thanks to Mr. Culberson, granted NASA $43 million for the project. In 2014, though, get this, they added another $80 million. But here's the real crux to it. the law, it's actually been put into legislation. The law itself says what's really interesting about the 2014 budget bill, finalized just in December, is that the law statutorily binds NASA to fly the Europa mission. You know, if you search the bill, you'll see that on page 149, it says they can't use it for anything else, not a Mars mission, not payroll, not anything else, except for those people working on the Europa mission, obviously, or anything else. It can only be used for this mission. On top of that, NASA finally said, okay, well, we get the hint. You want us to do an Europa mission. Not NASA. Congress wants them to do it. And so NASA finally said that for the 2015 budget, we'd like about $15 million to continue that. It looks like Congress is going to give them $100 million to continue to get this kicked off. So this is going to happen. It's probably going to happen before 2020, before anyone even gets to Mars. And pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and I just wanted to say a little bit more about Europa. Basically, like you said, it is encased in ice. And how do we know that there's like water hundreds of miles into the core? Well, first of all, as you know, the deeper that you drill into the planet, at least based on what we found out with Earth, like the hotter it gets. So it makes sense that like that ice would be in more of a liquid state on the inside. And also, when you can get water to that liquid state, there is a chance that life can form, in that. So, oh, I'm sorry. Did you just pull up something?
Yeah, that's exactly what you're talking about. See, you can see the surface of Europa there, and they've actually already developed probes. Like I said, they've been working on this for about 10, 15 years. And Russia was working on this too, at a Lake Voskov, way out in the Siberian wilderness. And there's this lake that's frozen under almost a mile of ice, and has been like that for thousands of years. So what they've done is they've designed a probe, because we don't want to do like we did to the American Indians. We want to go visit another place, infect them with some of our disease, and destroy the whole lot. So what the probe does...
I'm sorry, we're pretty much like parasites if you think about it. We drain all the resources of a planet, including our own, by the way.
We're a cancer.
We go to another planet hoping to colonize, to drain all of its resources. So basically all the alien movies where they come over to our planet to like hunt us, kill us so they can take over, we're doing the same thing, people.
That's right. We just might think we look prettier. But it's not true, not to them. Anyway, the probe is actually like a cigar, and it warms up and melts its way into the ice, but it warms up so much so that it also sterilizes itself. And as the probe gets deeper and deeper into its cavity, it freezes back up above it, so you keep a cork on what's pristine inside that lake or that proposed ocean versus on what's on the outside. Because, we're assuming that we might find microbes down there. What if we find something a little more advanced and their whole existence is based at the end of that ice ceiling above them? So pretty interesting stuff. You don't know what ifs. That senator is really working overtime to try and get this to happen. And that's Mr. Culberson right there. And he's a huge science geek, and he's going to be on the Senate Appropriations Committee shortly. So he's going to be in charge of dishing out all that money where it needs to go. And he wants to make NASA back into the entity it used to be before the last 20 years have really killed so much going on. So, yeah, it's very interesting, cool stuff. So, like I said, we might find lots of water bears up there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You're right, water bears.
Cousins.
And basically, cousins. The more advanced water bear.
Yeah.
They're at least 10 times bigger. I'm just kidding. No. But what I wanted to say, besides the whole core of the planet being warmer, they're coupled in liquid, is that we've been seeing water vapor, like, spit out from Europa. That's why we're like, there must definitely be something deep, deep down where it's warmer. And also, there was this other thing that I found, this science article, give me a second, where basically we drilled into our Earth, and the deepest known life on Earth is 5.3 kilometers or 3.2 miles below the surface, but there may be life even 10 kilometers, so 6.2 miles deep into the Earth. But we haven't drilled that yet, but we don't know. And so basically, there's a model that some of these scientists created, or in the article, and they say that if life could survive 5 kilometers below the Earth's surface, because the liquid water is present there, and even if the Earth was 3 times farther away from the sun, like basically there could be a habitable zone, which is pretty interesting if you think about it. So that means planets as far as Jupiter and Saturn, or rogue planets that are just drifting around us, that are like, especially planet Gliese 581d, which is 20 light years away from Earth, that could potentially hold life, or at least the
Precisely.
potential for life. So I thought that was incredibly interesting.
Well, the thing about
just-
Kepler, the Kepler telescope, which is the planet finder out there, is that we're finding that planets aren't a rarity. They're almost always around every single sun we are finding. In fact, Kepler found, and here's what is really astounding, in 1 week, it found 142 new planets orbiting distant star systems from us. And that's just remarkable. So that whole approximation about life in our galaxy, being rare, is being blown right out the door. The chances of finding the Goldilocks zones, which is, just warm enough to have water vapor, far enough out to still have a stable tectonic solution for the planet, could really propose that there's quite a bit more life out there than we can imagine. But they may be in the same boat we're in, just getting to the space age, or not there yet, or we're just such bad critters, we're quarantined. They don't want to have anything to do with us right now until we get
Pretty
past
much, yeah.
the situations we're in now, like destroying our own planet, right?
Exactly. And also, just one more thing about this, but one thing I do want to mention is if you happen to miss any of this, the tech segment, the science segment, whatever we may talk about, there's always a replay on our channel, twitch.tv/whaletune, obviously you know it, later on in the day. So if you ever miss it, you can go back and catch whatever it is we were talking about.
That's
and
right.
This is some pretty fun, exciting news,
This is huge.
Yeah, and basically one more thing about the Europa report. Oh, I'm sorry, about Europa.
Europa.
Basically, if you're curious about Europa a little bit more on the more movie side, there's a movie called Europa Report that was released in 2013, and one of the main characters is Dexter's crazy psycho killer brother. I'm sorry if I spoiled this for anyone, but Dexter, the serial killer, the good serial killer with morals, basically his brother is one of the main characters on the show. And not on the show, I'm sorry, in the movie. And the movie is interesting because of how terrifying it is. I was just like, oh my god, I do not wish to go on a mission to check out Europa anytime soon, because I'm like, just a possibility that something like that could happen just blows my mind. I'm just like, I'm good in LA, sunny California, no creepiness going on beneath the ice that I know of.
It's volcanic creepiness and earthquake creepiness where you're at.
Yeah. So, basically,
The volcano monsters.
Yeah, no. Exactly? What I'm afraid of is deep down when it's dark. It freaks me out. Like the deepest crevices of the ocean. It's so freaky to me because you can't see anything. Well, and also the water pressure would just kill me, crush my bones. But I mean, aside from that, like let's say you could swim around in there, and then suddenly you bump against something, and you're like, what is that? And then it's like, what is that electric fish where the antenna of the head lights up, and
Sure.
you're like, ooh, and then they eat you. Yeah.
It'd be like one of those old Bugs Bunny cartoons. You're in a totally dark room, and your eyes would be there, and suddenly something else would blink right next to you.
I mean, that is just terrifying to me. I don't like any to be anywhere where I cannot see.
Have
especially
you
when I cannot breathe?
have you ever read any Arthur C. Clarke?
No.
He's the one who did 2001: A Space Odyssey. Odyssey. Remember that? Did you ever see the movie?
Yeah. Yes.
That's Stanley
I remember
Kubrick.
that.
Did you ever see 2010, which
I
was
don't recall.
sequel? Because that was about Europa.
Oh, no, then I didn't.
Yeah. Roy Schreider was in it. Yeah, Roy Schreider was in this one. It still dealt with the obelisks from the original movie. And basically, at the end of the movie, I'm sure most of you have seen this, these obelisks said to man, of all these planets in this solar system, you can go ahead and do what you want with, but leave Europa alone. Because it didn't want us screwing around with whatever development was going on for that planet. It's pretty cool. You'll have to watch it sometime. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, but are we ready to move on?
Yes,
to
let's
our
move
next
on.
segment?
You want to do a tech segment. One tech segment, then we get into gaming, I promise. Right.
Okay, so basically it's gonna be Oculus Rift versus Project Morpheus. Go on, tell me you know what I'm talking about, guys. I know you've been reading. So go ahead and you start this off, Tim.
No problem. Now, Oculus, I'm a big Kickstarter nut, as you have heard and will probably know here in the future. In fact, part of the reason why we're here is because the Kickstarter projects will be actually starting here in the near future. Having said that, Oculus was a very, very successful Kickstarter project that came up 2012, and they asked for like $100,000, and I think the gamers gave them anywhere between 2.3 to 3.4 million to develop it. And what's nice about it is this was one of the best VR virtual reality headsets that has ever come out there on the market to date. You put it on. In fact, Hawking, which was a game very similar to Titanfall that came out at the same time. They actually designed it. They were the first Oculus ready game, and what was nice about it is you could look around inside the cockpit to your Titan-like critter, and as you moved your head, of course, the display inside Oculus would also turn at the same time, which is pretty cool. And you could, just by moving your head, instead of having to hit your buttons on your keyboard or on your joystick, you have a very natural expression in that virtual world to get information. Now, Joanne brought to my attention last night a brand new project, and you can see it here on the left side of the screen, by Sony. Go ahead and talk about that, Joanne.
Oh yeah, I researched a lot more about the Sony segment, which is, by the way, morning. Wow, it's jam. Jam. Okay, so basically, and I'll also talk about some of the comparisons between Oculus Rift and the Project Morpheus. At least from what I've researched, I would love to try the headset on, but I'm afraid that I'll get dizzy because like the water in my ear, the liquid in my ears, for some reason is extremely unstable compared to like the normal person. Okay, so basically, Sony unveiled the Project Morpheus, which is also, of course, a virtual reality headset, except it's only for the PS4 that we know of right now. And right now, it is a cabled connection to your PS4, but they are working on a wireless version. And whatever that is that they have on there, for example, HDMI, just any connectors, anything like that, it might change when the real version comes out. But just so you know, a version of the VR headset probably won't be available this year, but I'm sure you can check it out in conventions. There's some videos out already if you're curious. And basically, I've read that it's very comfortable because it's like really easy, what's not installation. I say that like I'm a PC, no, but it's really easy to just clamp it on because there's like some kind of plastic ring in the back of your head. And it's a
Right.
matter of adjusting it. And what's cool is the lenses, they curve. So I think they have this up on, or at least the viewing, they have that up on the Rift. Basically, it curves so your eyelashes don't get in the way. But they can fog up after a few minutes, so that's something that they need to work on. And really, it's just that this headset, the Morpheus, needs a larger, greater field of view. Right now, it's at 90 degrees. So you can't I'm guessing you won't be able to see everything in your peripheral, but that's something that they need to work on.
Right.
And I'm sorry, just a couple more things. And basically, Morpheus and Rift both use 1080p screens, similar head tracking technologies, and both headsets, you know, eliminate lag, but not like perfectly. Obviously, it's still like prototype version. And Morpheus is a little blurrier than the Rift, than the newest version of the Rift. However, the lenses are much better at removing the blocky screen door effect. Basically, I believe. Oh, and the PS4 uses the motion control, the PS Move, basically, so you can use it as like a sword, which is kind of cool. I really want to try this out, by the way, but I do sound effects, as some of you probably already know or will come to know.
Yeah.
And basically,
So do I.
that kind of reminds me of like the Wii. It's like Wii
Exactly.
Fit, except
Exactly.
with a headset on. So I'm just like, that's interesting. But one day I would love to be completely immersed in like a headset like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just like my whole body is in the game, and I'm connected somehow, and I'm just using my brain to move or something. One day.
It'll
Um,
happen. It'll happen.
yeah.
Now,
But
as you can see, the Oculus actually has a 110-degree field of view so far. I didn't realize that the Morpheus was only 90 at this point, but I'm sure they'll expand it shortly.
Yeah, definitely. They're still working out all the kinks and stuff. And at least from what I know for the Morpheus, I believe they have Thief and Eve Valkyrie, which is like a dogfighting shooting game, or positions players as pilots. It's like, old school and all that. But
Sure.
basically, those are the two games that I've heard of that's on the Morpheus. So something to look for if you're curious. I don't want to play Thief. I mean, I did try or watched a little bit of it because it's purely stealth. You have to get through the game without killing anyone, probably score the highest amount of points. But I'm not a stealthy person.
You enjoy
I
killing too.
Yeah, I just want guns blazing, and I'm like attrition points up. Heck yeah. Yeah. So if basically it's a USB HDMI connectivity, but like I said, subject to change. And
Precisely.
is there anything? Oh, one more thing about the audio is just like I know there are some 3D headsets out there where you feel like you hear sound from in front of you, backside, and stuff like that. So they've used this 3D audio technology
Yes.
in order to give you those type of sounds. So you're seeing 3D basically, and you're hearing it too. So that's something kind of cool. And the LCD screen for the Morpheus is 5 inches. So it's kind of like a Samsung phone. Ah, okay.
Well, it'd be
But
nice. It'll be really nice when they get this tech down because you could watch your movies that way too. Imagine being immersed in the movie in that manner.
yeah, I know. But my main thing is just like if I turn and the screen doesn't turn fast enough, I'm like, oh god, I'm so dizzy. Like I'm like, I feel like vomiting. Like I just don't want to go through that.
Well,
Because like
that would be interesting if they made movies that had a wider field of view than is conventional. I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking that during the movie mode, for existing movies, it would be a fixed forward screen. It would stop allowing that moving left or right. But that would be interesting. That'd be a step beyond 3D. Maybe they'd call that 4D or 5D. You have movies made specifically for those type of headsets that have that additional. So you could watch a movie repetitively, and depending on where you're looking, see stuff that you never saw the first time through.
yeah, yeah, no, exactly. That'd be super cool. And by the way, someone said my mic is very low. Is it better now? I try to turn up the volume.
Let
Do you
me
hear a difference?
let me look at my settings. That could be over here.
Okay. Maybe they can't hear me as well. So.
Well, let me look at what settings I have here. I need to refresh that. Let's see.
Okay, so basically, thank you for telling us this stuff on chat.
Thank
We
you.
will definitely, yeah, we will read it and we'll try to fine tune this so in the future shows, future segments, it'll just be a lot smoother.
You're pumped up pretty high. Let me put you all the way up.
Okay. All right, cool. So, how's the mic doing? Is the mic better? But basically, that's what we have on the Oculus Rift and Project Morpheus. We hope that, like, oh, just one more thing. I guess I forgot to do this, but basically, the Morpheus system, will track the movements of a player's hands and replicate them in the game, and basically take your perspective and like throw it into the game. But I think they're having some issues where like your hand kind of looks kind of disembodied when like you put it into your field of view or something. That's something that they have to look over. But it's a really versatile system in that you can like lean over railing, you could crouch, turn around completely, and it'll go with you. It's pretty precise. So I have to say that I am really looking forward to trying this. So FYI, Sony Oculus Rift, if you're curious on sending us a set, just saying.
Yes, we'll be happy to test it out live here for you, guaranteed. All right.
They said that the mic is much better now. So.
Okay, good.
Hey, can you just show them a quick picture of the pelican spider? I just thought.
I actually didn't put that on here. Let me go ahead and see if I can't set that up. Let me.
Okay.
I'll make a scene real quick here. This will be a blank scene till I throw it on.
Okay, so because I just really want you guys to take a look at this. I'm just like, oh my god, it looks like a bird. Like if I ever saw it, I see a big spider, I'm like, kill it with fire, right? So like if I see a spider that looks like a bird, I'll be like, what is that? And then I'll see like 8 legs, and I'll be like, ah, run for my life. Basically, yes, I'm very animated, as you will come to know on the show.
No, it's not true. It's not true. Here we go.
I do a lot of voice impressions, and that's just who I am. Just gonna have to get used to it, buddies.
That's
Girls
right.
and boys.
That's right. That's right. All right, I'm saving the image. This might work. Let me go ahead and bring it up here.
Okay. So you guys are just this is really disgusting, by the way, because you know the beak of the pelican spider, they're fangs, okay? They're extremely long, and what they do is they just what's the word? They gut, they impale their targets with the fangs. And obviously, while the targets are, struggling, like,
There you go.
and yeah, did you see it?
I've actually put it on the screen. You'll see it in 30 seconds.
Okay,
So
but
the
in case
pelican
you're,
spider.
go ahead if you know.
Oh, no. Go ahead. You go ahead. I just put the picture up there.
Okay, so if you are curious a little bit about it, just give me a moment. So they don't build webs, and instead they just creep through the foliage. So that's like pretty freaky to me, because when I see a web, I'm like, okay, avoid, because there might be a spider nearby, or it's smack dab in the middle. But when it's just creeping around, tiptoeing like under leaves and stuff, I'm like, the beep is this, you know? Basically, a female will carry her eggs with her in a silk bag that she attaches to one leg in a third of her 4 pairs. And basically, she'll use the back 6 legs to walk around, and the two, I guess, in the front to like sweep around to like look for prey. And it picks up the it even picks up the silk trail of another spider, and will spend hours at the edge of that spider's web just so it can wait for the pounce. I mean, for the kill, pounce, whatever. It's like a puma. Anyway, and but unlike other spiders, they say that they're very slow, patient killers. So they're like the snipers of the shooting world. I guess you could say snipers. Anyway, and when they strike, it's like obviously has to be really fast. They can't be like slow waiters, and they strike like, you know what I mean? And basically they're two fangs. So they rise 90 degrees, and the fangs slam into the prey. Well, the tips of it anyway. And they pull out one of the fangs and leave the other one hanging while the prey is impaled. And they eat other spiders, by the way, which is great. They don't eat us. Perfect. The attacking at the jaw's length is the trick. So basically, while they're like, futilely struggling, that's when they get all of their, trappings done, and that's when they feast. And it's I just thought that it's kind of cool. It's very ninja-like. If you're curious, if you like ninjas, ninja spider. So actually, that's kind of scary to me.
Yeah, it's a very unique looking critter, to say the least. Very unique.
Yeah. So if you guys are curious, sometimes I just find really like weird things, and I'm like, I have to share this. People have to know this, even though there are no pelicans around them. I'm sure pelican spiders, they should know this.
Where are they?
Um,
Where are they indigenous to? Do you know?
oh, I just closed the article. I'm sure they're not all that uncommon, but just don't stay in a patch of leaves too long.
Or you might be pecked by a pelican spider.
Pretty
All right,
much. So,
all right.
are we moving on to food segment at all, or no?
No food segment this time. Oh, that's
You don't
right.
want,
Oh, yes,
you don't
that's
want to
right.
talk about the pudding?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's talk about it. Go ahead. Yes, I didn't take a picture though.
No, you can take a picture from my Facebook and then show the audience.
Okay.
So, remember the Instagram photo?
I do.
Okay, so while I talk about this, so basically, many of you will come to know that I make a lot of paleo desserts. I just like to stay healthy. I mean, I still eat my, breads and stuff sometimes because it's like I can't help it. But I try to stay healthy when I can. So basically, it's a really simple recipe. Involves one avocado, cocoa powder, almond milk, some what else is there?
Agave nectar.
Agave nectar, and one more thing, vanilla extract.
That's right.
You'll come to know this when you make sweet stuff, especially with paleo. There's probably a vanilla extract in everything, and coconut. Get used to loving coconut oil, coconut milk, because that is your life if you commit to paleo. I'm just kidding. But it's good stuff.
She's
It's
not
delicious.
kidding.
But basically, you need a processor. I use Cuisine Art. Don't know the exact model, but it's $100 for that processor. It's great stuff. And you just whip it up, set it in the fridge to so it turns into like a kind of either spongy mousse consistency. But for me, I was happy with just like the pudding consistency. It's like chocolate avocado pudding. Oh, there you go. There's a picture. I
Yep.
made it.
Yeah,
If you
that's
ever wanna
Joanne's, and I made
Yeah.
the same thing. It was very good.
Yeah, if you ever want to follow me on Instagram, I believe I am Joanne Tech Lover. But on Twitter, I'm Joanne Food Lover. So in case you're ever interested, you want to follow me, follow my all my food adventures. Believe me, I have a lot. I eat stuff like different type of cultures, like the dishes in that culture every week, and I try a different restaurant. I try to try a
Huge
different
foodie.
restaurant.
Huge
Yeah,
foodie.
every single week. So you'll always see something different. And I always cook thing. I cook. I make crock pot stuff. I make desserts. So like basically every week there's something different. And it's got a very subtle flavor. But it's sweet too, but not too sweet. So why don't you tell them about your experience too?
I liked it a lot. Right off the bat, like you said, there was a little bit about the avocado itself that was a little different, but I enjoyed it. And the only thing I would do is I'd add maybe a little bit more of the agave nectar, because it's a quarter cup of the agave nectar. It's a quarter cup of cocoa. Um, it's a whole avocado. It's a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And what was the other item?
Uh, did you do almond milk? Did you say almond milk?
Oh no, almond milk. Quarter cup of almond milk too. Yes.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I'd increase the cocoa a little bit. I'd increase the agave nectar a little bit. But other than that, it was really, really good. Delicious.
Alrighty, so by the way, what game do you want to start off with today? Do you want to do Titanfall or World of Warcraft? Why don't we start with World of Warcraft first?
Okay.
Because then, or do you want to do Titanfall? Hey, audience members, what do you think? Would you like to see World of Warcraft first or Titanfall? So, in case you're not you're new to this format, what we do is we'll always play some WoW, but we'll also include some other games too. So,
Absolutely.
any feedback for what game you would like us to play first?
Yeah, today I'm going to give you a little class on add-ons too, Joanne, before we move
Oh,
on
yeah.
too farther.
Perfect, perfect. Oh, and also key binding. I really want to key bind my A and D keys straight
Sure.
because I cannot stand like those keys being like turning left and right.
Well-
But that is not the case for a lot of games that I play. And it's just disorienting. Okay, so but since we're waiting, I got a new gaming headset.
Yes, you did. Look at that.
And also, I got a new gaming keyboard because, bless its heart, the CM Storm Quickfire Pro with LED red backlighting and mechanical MX blue keys. That one has died. 2 years though. You will be missed. I will never forget you, as you were one of my first keyboard lovers. Loves lovers.
Keyboard
No,
loves.
but basically, I really love that. It highlighted the keys, most of the keys that I needed. But do you know what I love about this new keyboard, by the way? Let me show you. You're going to love this. And you might even run out and get one by yourself. Can you see this, Tim?
Yep. A little higher.
Okay.
A little higher.
Is this better?
A little more.
A little more, how's that?
Good.
Okay, so basically, this is the Corsair K70 LED red backlighting compared to blue because it pumps me up. I just like red better. And what's cool about this is you can highlight individual keys to glow. And of course, the glowing modes, it gets so bright. I mean, just the first lighting mode is good enough for me, at least in the daytime. And basically, I've like, got the keys that I want, especially for the Titanfall controls, to be highlighted in red. And I love it. I love that I could just press and hold one of these buttons here, which is the LED mode buttons, and then just click any of the keys that I want to highlight in red. I love it. It's just so user-friendly. It's very versatile, and, basically, the only problem I have with it is that I believe these are Cherry MX Red switches. I don't quite remember, but here, let me get my key tool cap remover. By the way, these are very, very useful. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove a key cap. One moment. Yeah, I believe these are red unless it's just the glow and it's actually brown. But I believe these are Cherry MX Red switches. They're more linear, and they're a little more silent. But I love the blues because it's like clickety clackety clackety click. I absolutely adore blue Cherry MX blues. But anyway, aside from that, I have to say I'm really liking this keyboard. Like all the functionality, I love it. So if you are interested in getting a keyboard, the K70 looks really good. I think there's a K90 too, but here's a funny story. My keyboard died. I ordered it online, and I forgot to check, but it said it will deliver in 1 to 4 months, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to play games. I'm like rage face, right? And then so I had to run to Best Buy to try to get one of these. And can you believe this is the only mechanical keyboard that they have available? Unlike Facepalm, there are gamers out there, a lot of gamers. Why would this be the only mechanical keyboard that you have available?
Well, I told you.
And
I told you I had the same problem when we were putting together the new system. Any of the gamer stuff is gone. It's out of stock because it's in such high demand.
I know, but it's like, come on, there are a lot of gamers out there. Like, at least stock some with more options. But I'm glad that they did this. They did have this Corsair K70 because I'm starting to really love it. I mean, I love my CM Storm series. I got the TK, and it's gonna ship to me with Cherry MX Blue keys because I'm very particular about like my switches. So I guess this will do. I'm a really fast typer, so that's why I love hearing the
Insanely
click.
fast. Insanely fast. Yes.
And basically, yeah. So I'm done talking about the keyboard for now. So if you're interested, go ahead and check that out. I mean, just some of the features that I liked about it. Also, my gaming headset. And by the way, the Corsair K70 is about like $129.99, $130. So if you're willing to shell out that cash, go for it. I think it's totally worth it. And also, see this headset. This is the Logitech G230, I believe. So far, I'm loving it. It is comfortable. It's not super heavy as I have a small head. Everything about me is kind of teeny weeny, but basically, it's not too heavy. It's got this kind of cloth cushion at the top and around the ears, like just very soft, not super soft. I prefer memory foam padding, but for like $45, this is a pretty good deal. And also the mic, it seems to work just fine. Also comes with a inline control for like mic mute and also volume, and really right now that's all I need. I'm not really working with like the whole voice morphing thing and all of the other features of some headsets, so I'd say for gaming this is perfect. And it's, you know, plasticky material. Damn it, I feel like I'm giving like an unboxing.
That's perfectly all right.
I can't help it. It's like the mode. When I talk about things, I get in the mode.
Yes, that is her naturally. Someone
and,
asked, Infinite Styles asked, is that her naturally? Yes, that's her naturally.
that's me naturally. So you're gonna find out a lot
With
about
coffee,
me, like,
with
there.
coffee.
And if I get new tech, I will be talking about it
Yes.
on this show. So
Same here
if there's
too.
Yeah, so if there's anything you might want to see in the future when we can afford it, I'll go ahead and test it out while we play games and talk like this, so you'll know, like, if you're getting, you know, bang for your buck. And basically, I love that you get about like 10 feet, because I know most cables, 6 feet, 4 to 6 feet.
Right.
Probably,
They're always
shows
too
the
short.
headset.
Always too
Yeah,
short.
but 10 feet, and I love that it's thin. So like, you know, it's very flexible and
It's
all that.
braided too, right?
It's braided. It's cloth braided, because I hate like the rubberized ones where it's like you could like, you know, like potentially damage it just by running your chair over it. Like it'll smash it, you know what I mean? But when it's cloth, I feel like there's just so much more protection. But anyway, just a quick unboxing for you if you're curious.
Now, I really love my Corsair K90, which is a variation that Joanne's got. But what I'm really looking forward for is the Corsair, and I can't remember the name to it. There's been a couple ads on it so far, but it's the one where every single key is individually RGB. Do you know which one I'm talking about, Joanne?
Oh my god, I love it. I
Yes,
saw
yes.
an article about that like months ago. Basically, RGB. Oh, this is so sick. By
Yeah,
the way.
it's huge, huge.
You can basically light each individual key, but unlike the K70, light it in the color that you want. I mean, that's sick. So basically, go ahead, Tim. This one.
Well, yeah, and you can also, what I really like about it is I can turn off all the keys I don't use in a particular game. So if I have a particular setup in Titanfall that I've mapped a certain way, you know, key bound, et cetera, whatever I want, I can light it up any way I like. Say, for instance, if I do all my fire commands over on my numeric keypads, I can make them all yellow and hit them any way I like. Turn off all the middle keys and do my movement keys, you know, my Q, my W, my E, my A, my S, my D, into blue or whatever I like, and everything else is dead except for my gaming keys or whatever I'd like. And then on World of Warcraft, I can have a completely different layout, which is beautiful.
Okay, so can you show them what it looks like? Like, just show the camera, like, so they know that, hey, this is the K90. If you're interested, hands on.
Oh, sure, the K90, sure, I can show them.
Yeah.
There you go. Here's the K90.
Okay.
I can't pull it back any farther. My cord is going all the way across to the other table with the new system.
If there wasn't this 20-second delay, I'd be like, woo! But I can't do that, so.
Oh, go woo! Anyway, do it.
Woo! Put my hands in the air!
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do the wave.
You you guys are gonna find that I am just goofy. I am geeky, goofy. This is me in my natural habitat. So you either love me or you don't.
And I told her,
Either
and I told her I wanted her just to be herself.
what color? I mean, what key switches do you have? Pull it back just a little bit so they can see more
Mine,
of it.
I have blue, which I like.
Okay, cherry MX blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I don't like
anything
red.
like okay, I see how it is. So, I'm gonna have to bash your face in during Titanfall. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, but anyway, so there's a tech segment for you guys. If you guys are curious, we're gonna go ahead and start with Titanfall because sometimes because last week people didn't get to see it, so we're gonna start with Titanfall and go into WoW. So we are good. So I'm gonna go ahead and load the game. Okay. Hey, where'd you go, Tim? Your mic went quiet. Yo, Tim, what's up? Tim. Hey, Tim, where'd you go? Tim, where's Tim? Someone said the volume seems to have gone down a bit.
Can everyone else hear me?
All right, are you ready to get some killing done? I can hear you now, Tim. I can
You,
hear you.
you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right. I'm
All
gonna
right.
go ahead and load.
Well, remember, I got to switch presentations, so we have to go to intermission for a couple minutes while I switch presentations over the gaming one, and then we're good to go.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back with you in just a moment. We'll go off air for just a minute, then we'll be right back. So thank you for joining our SyTECH segment. I hope you enjoyed it. Give us feedback on it, please. And now we're going to go on to do some merry murder.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and load the game.
Okay.